All right, today we're diving into a really big idea, nationalism versus globalization. We're going to break down an analysis that argues the world is fundamentally shifting, and we'll explore what that could mean for one nation's economy. Let's get right into it.
So the source material we're looking at today paints a picture of a world at a crossroads. It argues that the age of globalization, the one we've all pretty much grown up with, all about open markets and global supply chains, is fading away. And what's taking its place? A whole new international order, one that's defined by nationalism, where countries are looking inward and focusing on their own economies first.
And get this, according to this analysis, this isn't some far-off prediction. The argument is that the choice has already been made. The transition period is over. The world has decisively picked its new direction, and that direction is toward nation-focused policies.
Okay, so what happens when a country decides to swim against that powerful global current? Well, this analysis puts Argentina's current administration right under the microscope, arguing it's a total outlier in this new nationalist world.
The authors actually coined a term for this strategy, extreme globalization. And what does that mean? It's basically a policy where integrating into the global market is seen as more important than protecting your own country's interests. And that, right there, is the central conflict of the whole argument.
Now, you really have to pay attention to the language here. The source describes this vision as essentially nationless. I mean, that's a really powerful choice of words. It's basically arguing that the national interest isn't the primary compass guiding the government's decisions.
So to show what it actually looks like in the real world, the analysis zooms in on one absolutely critical economic relationship, Argentina's trade with China. This is held up as the key case study for their entire argument.
At the very heart of the argument is this idea of a core imbalance. The analysis claims that when you look at the trade relationship between the two countries, the needs and the benefits are just completely out of whack.
And this quote just sums it up perfectly. The analysis argues that for China, selling its products to Argentina is absolutely essential. But for Argentina, buying from China is, well, it's secondary. It's optional, a nice to have, not a necessity. And this isn't just an Argentina-specific issue. The analysis is quick to point out that this is happening on a global scale. You've got major international players like the IMF and the entire European Union reacting and trying to deal with the impact of China's trade practices.
Okay, so let's look at the actual data. This first chart shows the trade balance between the European Union and China. See how that import bar on the right just towers over the export bar? That massive gap represents a huge and growing trade deficit for Europe.
And now here's the chart for Argentina. It's the exact same story, right? A big, sustained trade deficit. The analysis uses this really strong phrase, the predatory eruption of Chinese products. It's basically a way of saying that there's such a flood of imports that it just overwhelms and harms local businesses.
So what's the real-world impact of all this? Because this isn't just about numbers on a chart. The analysis links this trade imbalance directly to companies shutting down and widespread job losses. And it's hitting the entire manufacturing sector, from small and medium-sized businesses all the way up to the big guys.
So after laying out this pretty stark diagnosis of the problem, the analysis shifts gears. It's not just about critiquing the current situation, it actually moved to propose a whole new path forward for the country.
And that leads to this very direct question, which is really the turning point in the whole narrative. After detailing all these issues, the source just asks, flat out, is there another way?
And here is the answer that's presented. A new path forward, guided by a simple but really powerful slogan, production and work. This becomes the core principle for a completely different economic model, one that's focused on strengthening your own domestic industry. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. The analysis doesn't just say this is a good idea in a vacuum. It makes the bold claim that this new, more nationalist world order is, for the first time in 150 years, an extremely favorable environment for Argentina to build this kind of production-focused economy. So, the whole thing concludes with a call to action. And it's not a call for just one political party. It's a call for a broad coalition. Leaders from business, labor, politics, social organizations to all come together and build the foundations of this new model. So what should we take away from all this? The source presents a really stark choice in a rapidly changing world. And it leaves us with one final big question. In this new era of rising nationalism, what's the bigger risk? Embracing the new global trend or ignoring it?